Welcome to the DoubleACS Daily News for April 20th, 2016. Bristol Community College recently hosted a presentation about the Syrian refugee crisis. Presenters Dr. Madeline, Otis, Campbell, and Dr. Janbek presented research on the political and economic conditions refugees face and the effects of the response effort. Dr. Janbek spoke with us about the presentation.
My colleagues and I, Professor Campbell and Wall, have been going back and forth to Jordan for the last few years to meet with Syrian refugees and meet with the organizations and government officials who are working with them to better understand their situation and to understand their hopes and dreams and to really figure out how it is that they're navigating their new environment in Jordan, specifically through the use of technologies. So we study how cell phones are playing a role in the refugees' new lives in Jordan. So education is definitely one of the biggest problems, but of course it's not only education, there's also unemployment is the second biggest problem. In terms of education, there are different efforts that are being done. Some schools are doing double shifts where Jordanians are going in the morning and Syrians are going in the afternoon. Of course, the influx of refugees to the country have put a tremendous stress on the current infrastructure where Syrians are basically sharing resources with Jordan. But there are also great stories that are emerging from this scenario. So there is an example of a principal of a Jordanian school who has started her own program for Syrian refugees because she knows what the need is like for the refugees. So there are all kinds of positive efforts that are happening, but the problem is so large that you really need a large-scale response. It is our hope that through sharing our research, we can address some of the myths that people have about refugees, whether the myth is that they all live in camps or whether the myth is that they all want to come to America, and really try to explain a relatively complex situation. Oftentimes through media outlets, we hear a single narrative of a simple story of refugees, and the reality is that we have over 4 million Syrian refugees today, which means we have over 4 million stories of those refugees. And we are trying to address and bring attention to the diversity that's within the group that we often talk about as one homogeneous group. And the fact of the matter is, it's a very diverse group with diverse hopes and dreams, and there is a lot to learn about their environment and their current situation. So we've been presenting at different conferences. There is always the fear that that some of the refugees might end up being ISIS affiliates. And I think what we really need to clarify is that the events that we witnessed in Paris, the events that we witnessed in Brussels, are daily realities for Syrians who have become refugees over the years. And it's because that's their daily reality that they are fleeing the countries that they come from. Of course, there has to be some sort of a security process, and we leave that to the security experts to determine what's the best method to process individuals and to check their backgrounds and their stories. But we really can't be mixing these two issues together because it's terrorism that has caused people to become refugees. It's A that has led to B.
That's it for today's update. For DoubleACS News, I'm Austin Ricketts.